have to start looking at very seriously.
You said you had to be in shape, but I'm still playing. I mean, I have to be in shape too to play. Can I just have fun?
You can have fun, and that's another area in minor hockey. I listen to a lot of kids at school, and they say, Mr. P, yeah, I'm in a midget, but I'm finished next year, and now I got nowhere to play. I might be able to play gentlemen's hockey. So I said, why can't minor hockey change its structure? Maybe it's constitutional. Let's look at that. Why can't Glace Bay, if an example, Glace Bay minor hockey rent an hour of ice? Bring in those boys or girls, just like a scrub game, have no referees, but controlled. They go play for the hour, and then they go off. Now they're not hanging out at the malls and not doing other things. We have them in our fold still. We have to look at alternate ways we can I guess grow this game, and that's one small area. What do we do with those kids after they finish midget?
Whatever happened to juvenile hockey? One time juvenile hockey was a bunch of it at a midget. You went to juvenile. It was a big sport. It was here in Quebec.
I think that that's probably before my time, but my gut feeling is it died out due to maybe the junior programs and maybe the adult rec programs that were starting to take place. I know in this province we have a very competitive Junior A, Junior B, and Junior C league, and Cooten, Stelvin Anstey, our board member, he has a passion for junior hockey, and he puts a lot of time in. And if you look at the number of teams in our province versus the rest of Atlantic Canada, we outweigh them tenfold, easily. So that's a strong side of our game. But there is a niche there. There's a niche between junior and when they finish midget. And it is adult rec, but maybe there's an avenue for the minor hockey associations to fit a level of hockey in there, whether we call it juvenile non-contact. But there is a level that we can, I guess, encourage our players to go back to.
Randy, one subject that's come up in the last couple of days is the unions for junior hockey, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I've been reading the paper today, but how do you feel about that? I think for a lot of clubs it would spell the end, in terms of because it would be a lot more dollars to operate a team, and I'm really not sure if it would work in amateur hockey.
Personally, I thought it was a farce from the start. I don't think it's the right way to go. We're talking about amateur hockey. I know the owners of the Mooseheads, and I know the owners of the Screaming Eagles and the major junior teams. They put a lot of money into the community. I know they take care of the boys that play the game very well. And again, it's choices. The players that come and play here for the Screaming Eagles, they made a choice. They got drafted. They made a choice to come here. Some of them may not get their education paid for, and that's not because of rules and regulations that the Screaming Eagles have in place. It has to do with the choice that player made. Did they decide to do this, which now prevents them from getting that scholarship fund to go to university?
Randy Pulisfer, the president of Hockey Nova Scotia. Does anyone here in the hall have a question for Randy before we let him go? Shelley, go ahead.
Randy, something you and I touched on last night. These young fellas registered to be officials. They win a level 2 official. Last year it was 130. This year it's 145. We're in Cape Breton, and a lot of people can't afford that. What's the difference? What would be the policy in Hockey Nova Scotia? And how long would it take to get through the red tape phase? These young fellas register, and it's like their license. It's good for a couple of years, or it's good for 3 years. And in those interim years, just pay the insurance costs rather than paying these 145 every year.
It's an interesting question, and I'm going to answer it in a couple different steps. First one, and this is the standard, you always hear it, it's mandated by Hockey Canada that this happen. That would have to go to that level and change their rules and policies. Number two is, what would happen to a person who have just decided to become a referee? The infrastructure still has to be there to put out a clinic for education purposes. Is the structure flawed a little bit? In my personal opinion, yeah. It's not kept up with modern day educational philosophy. But at the same time, young fellows are paying to go to a clinic. They seem like they're being dropped by many of the associations. There's also like a disconnect there. It's almost like they attend a clinic and they're needed because there's going to be hockey games. But now the associations don't want to take any ownership. They don't want to put anything back in to help develop that referee. All right? And you can say, well, now they're going to pay for it themselves. But then I would say this. I sat, and you can get the minutes, I sat up during my mandate as the referee-in-chief, and I emphatically stated, I have, through the Hockey Nova Scotia officiating budget, money set aside to come into areas, Glace Bay, Port Hawkesbury, Halifax, Dartmouth, Canso, anywhere, to run specialized clinics. Everything would be covered. We would come in, we would pay for hotels, we would pay for ice sessions, et cetera, et cetera. And 9 times out of 10, I never got a call from a president. So I'm putting part of the blame back on the associations. How can we keep our young, our young referees up to speed on the game? And if they don't attend sessions, then do they fall behind? Personally, I think they do as an educator. However, as I said, I think the system is slightly flawed. I think we have to look at how we educate our young referees. And once we get past those hurdles, then I think the system will start to adjust itself. That's my own personal feeling. If people out there want to think it's a money grab, they're sadly mistaken. We have an audited budget, audited financial statement every year that anybody could look at. It's part of our daily operation as a branch. I think we're trying to put money back in the system, but a lot of times we're not getting the requests. I saw Terry Moore come in. Terry's the chair of our development, and he has the same problem. I know for a fact, we sit around the board table. Terry has money that might be from World Junior money. And I'm just throwing that out there. I could be wrong, but there's monies that come in. SO money for female. Are we getting requests to get that money? Terry puts the message out there. No. So there's a disconnect somewhere, and I don't know where that's at. So should we have clinics every year? Personally, yeah. In my own personal belief, yeah. Again, a consented choice. Does that young fellow want to referee, or do they want to work at McDonald's? Do they want to referee, or do they want to work and pump gas? They make the choice. Do I have to, if I'm going to work at a garage and I have no idea to pump gas, do I need my women's certificate? If I do, then I have to pay for it.
Randy Pulisfer, the president of Hockey Nova Scotia. In just a few minutes, we're going to get a chance to talk with NHL linesman Matt McPherson and then Don Koharski here in the armchair session.